Hello and welcome to the Inside Stylist podcast, where we talk all about interiors with interviews with interior stylists, writers and the big names in interiors, from brands and PRs to artists and designers. I also catch up with industry experts in the know and get them to share all their knowledge and advice. There's so much to talk about. I'm your host, Emma Morton-Turner, an interior stylist and a writer with a ton of experience. I set up InsideStylist.com so I could share all that interiors love with you. So don't forget to head on over to the website for not only the show notes from today's episode, but for links to interior stylists, writers and assistants profiles, and a ton of inspiration. But for now, enjoy the show. So today's episode is called 5 productivity apps I use to get more done. But actually, there's more than 5 in here. We've all got phones, we all use a ton of apps, but how many of us are really making the most of them? Let me start by setting the scene for you. You know that thing when you're scrolling through your overloaded inbox and you see a newsletter pop up and the subject just grabs you? That's where I was on Friday. It was the last day of half term. I decided that I wouldn't work that day. I would just finish painting my daughter's bedroom, mainly so I could get her bed out of my office. But I was sporadically checking emails, just in case an exciting styling job was in there. And this email really caught my eye. Paintbrushes went down. The newsletter was all about the productivity apps that this journalist used to keep on top of his work. He wanted to stay focused, he wanted to stay ahead of his week, his day, his month. I was completely sucked in. Although the apps weren't really aligned to my interiors world, it really got me thinking about the apps that I use. So I thought I'd share them here with you today. They're specifically about doing some focused work. Some are about productivity, but they're all about getting stuff done. So here they are. Number 1, Calm. I'm sure you've heard of it. And okay, I know every man and his dog is talking about meditation, but I have to start here as this is the app I use every morning and I absolutely love it. I meditate for literally 10 minutes, Monday to Friday, and it is like a drug. I'm addicted to how meditating makes me feel. I've got to a point where I am so still, and I don't really sit still, but I am so still, I almost don't want to breathe because it will move my body, and I can't actually feel any of my body. It's like I'm floating, and it's literally 10 minutes a day. Now, I'm not going to say I'm not woo-woo, because I totally am heading in that direction. Don't get me started on the law of attraction. But meditating has been proven to help relieve stress, anxiety, depression, and so much more. So I use the 10-minute free guided meditation on Calm. I do it before I head out on the dog walk, and I found that I really benefited from it. I'm calmer, I'm more focused, I get stressed far less often, unless you ask my kids. And is that a coincidence? I really don't think so. Now, I should say a word for the beginning meditator. If you've never done it before, I started really slowly. I did 2 minutes of meditation a day. I used to just start really slowly and I kept at the 2 minutes until I felt I wanted more. And then I moved up to the 5 minutes. And then from the 5 minutes, I moved up to the 10. And I've kind of stopped at 10 because basically I do this while my husband's in the shower and I want to stop before he comes out and disrupts me. Also, I then get up and go and do the dog walk. You're not supposed to do meditation in bed because you can drop back off to sleep, but I don't. It's part of my routine. I actually get excited to do it in the mornings. The other thing I want to say is that it's impossible to quieten your mind. You cannot stop thinking, so don't stress about it. If you find yourself thinking about other things, just give yourself a little, okay, I'm acknowledging that, and bring yourself back to thinking about your breathing. The rest will just come naturally. Okay, that was number 1. Number 2, shortcuts. Am I the last person on earth to discover the shortcut app? It's on my iPhone. I'm not sure if it's on other devices, but you can literally set up quick things to different apps on your phone. So I've set it up to call my husband, to text both my daughters, and I've set it up to do alarms for the day. Things like, yes, you do need to get up without pushing the snooze button. You can do so much. I'm only just learning about it, but I think this is actually one of the main reasons I wanted to do this specific topic today. Is because I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I love this app. And if I love it, I think someone else out there will too. So the other things that you can do are things like you can set up your music to play certain, I think if you've got an iPhone, you can only set up music apps. I can't seem to work out how to set up Spotify. I want to set up to have an instant link to my running playlist. I haven't managed that yet. But you can do notes, alarms, all sorts. So anyway, I'm only just getting used to it, but it's been so useful already. Number 3. Okay, let's talk about Instagram. I could have made this whole podcast about Instagram apps, but for now, I'm just going to mention 4. I'm going to roll them into this one point. HishHash I've mentioned a few times. It's such a fantastic app for creating categories of hashtags and jumbling them all up, because if you use the same hashtags in the same order all the time, Instagram will think you're a bot and you can run into all sorts of trouble, like shadow banning and not being able to post, not being able to share links and things. So HishHash will jumble up the same hashtags so that you can use them again and again without them being in the same order, and it's brilliant. Other apps I use for Instagram are Top Tags, which is thanks to Aurelian for telling me about that. It's really good. It gives you the most popular hashtags in different areas. There isn't one for interiors, but there's one for seasons, there's one for like all the different things that are very popular, and there's quite a lot of generic ones, but it's very interesting to find the hashtags that, because they're funny little, they're not obviously like pink sofa, they're interiors for green and really random things that you would not think of as being a popular hashtag. So that app is brilliant for that. That's Top Tags. And lastly, you've probably heard me talking about these two, but scheduling apps for Instagram, Later and Plannerly. They're both Instagram approved. It's really important if you link anything from an app to Instagram directly that it's approved. Otherwise, Instagram will penalise you and push your posts lower or not show them as much. So this one's great. These two are great for enabling you to not only plan your content, but schedule posts for coming live when you want them to. And they'll count your hashtags, because if you do more than 30, obviously the post will just go up with no words. So they're great for that. So this is great for getting a post out when you have to, leave really early for a photo shoot, or you're leaving at 5 o'clock to go to the flower market. You don't have to worry about getting a post out if you want to be very, very regular. Number 4 is Strides. It's another app I found via a newsletter, and it's all about creating regular habits. You set them up and get a little bring when it's time to get up, drink water, go to the gym, do your press ups, get that feature written. Whatever it is, you get the picture, right? You set it up for whatever you want consistency in. The aim of the app is to commit to doing the task over however many days you want, and then you check a box when you do it, and it shows you how many ticks you've got. So you want to do it Monday to Friday, it will show you have done 5 days in a row. You've got 5 strides. I have to say, I have been happily ignoring the drink water reminder that I've set for myself for quite a long time. But I've been using it to form other habits, and it has been really successful. It's definitely a winner, well worth a mention. Number 5 is a new app to me. It's called Be Focused. This is a game changer for anyone who A, procrastinates, B, has ADHD, i.e. me, or C, wants more focused work. So this is a task manager app where you can list all your tasks and tick them off, but I only use it for the timer section. I've got it on my phone, but I've also got it on my Mac and my laptop. It's got like a little timer thing at the very top bar where the time is, and the date and the file and all of that. It's just up there in those apps up there. And the timer goes off for 25 minutes for work, and then for 5 minutes for a break. So this is known as Pareto's Law. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's all about working within the time frame that you have. So if you get a feature to write and you've got 2 weeks to write it, it will take you 2 weeks. If you've got a feature and you've got 2 hours, you will take 2 hours. It literally is all about that. So it's about setting yourself up for 25 minutes work to complete it. And it makes you much more concise in your time and how effective you are. And I love this. I just think, right, I've got 25 minutes to do 40 minutes work. I'll just see how much I can get done in 25 minutes. And you don't get distracted at all. It's really, really cool. Okay, I've got a few others that I'm going to mention that you're probably already using, but I thought they were worth giving a little nod to. I'm using Google Calendar. This is my number 5. And I'd be lost without it. I need to have my calendar on me permanently. And I've had so many people recently who still use paper diaries, and I just don't know how they do it. I would literally forget something or miss something. Also, I have separate calendars for family, for work. I have calendar just for when blog posts and podcasts are publishing. So if someone says, when is that feature coming out? I know exactly when it is. And also when I'm going to events, press launches or anything, I put the name of who I'm going to be seeing at that event, because I will have spoken to 20 people and I will not remember who is from which place. Unless I know them, my brain will not remember that sort of detail of information. So if I'm going to a new press launch, I will write down the name of the agency and the PR who I need to contact. And having that on my phone in a calendar is brilliant. Okay, number 6, City Mapper. Oh my God, I absolutely love this. It's for those of us who are directionally challenged or always miss the bus by 1 minute. This app has been fabulous for me. I could get lost in my own house. It literally tells you step by step how to get from your front door to the door you need to be at, what time the bus, train, tube and tram will be. It is brilliant. Such a time saver. Number 7, Notes on my phone. This is like a standard iPhone app, and I have just used it so much recently. I can't tell you how many times I've used it to do things like write down ideas. I might have a podcast or a blog idea. I might have information I want to save, like this research I'm doing at the moment. I just jot things down so I don't forget either where I've seen them. I might save the link to a podcast I'm listening to or a website I've looked at. I keep all of that in the notes. In fact, the fact that I can link it up to my Mac and access the notes from my computer is brilliant. Number 8. So this is my last one. Spotify. So I'm sure everyone has music on their phone in one form or another, but I don't use it just to listen to music for entertainment. There are 2 main ways I use music on my phone. Number 1 is to lift myself up when I'm unmotivated or I'm down and I've got a lot on my mind and work is the last thing that I want to do. Yeah, I have those days too, and quite often, in fact, we've had a lot more than usual. We've had quite a lot going on with family this year, and the kind of things that make work, especially doing Christmas in February, it just seems so banal and so unimportant. But you have to get on with the work and you have to get focused. And with this sort of, trying to keep on top of Inside Stylist as well as work, I have to stay on top of it. And the way I do that is by having an up playlist. I literally have an hour's worth of uplifting, fast beat music that I can listen to, and you just can't help but be uplifted and happy after listening to it. I don't know if you've ever tried this. It's absolutely amazing how it does it. I heard this on a podcast ages ago, and I just started with 1 or 2 songs and now I have loads. But what I have to do is remember that if I'm doing a really early morning dog walk and I'm trying to lift myself up, I have to remember not to start singing. Sometimes you don't even realise you're doing it. But yeah, and don't think my neighbours appreciate it. But definitely find music that you like the sound of because it makes you feel good, or it's got really uplifting words. Like I listen to Everyone's Talking About Jamie. There's a couple of songs in there that are so, I'm going to win, I'm going to get over this hurdle. And the words in them are so perfect. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. There's another one. It's brilliant. But, those sorts of songs. The other thing, which is a little bit off the regular radar, is I have a playlist of white noise to listen to when I'm working. So if I'm in a coffee shop or if I'm in a library, this may be a very ADHD thing, but after one summer I was working from home and I had the fan on, and all of a sudden I realised that I had got so much done, and it's this kind of gentle hum of the fan really helped my concentration. I'm just going to very briefly explain. ADHD is that your brain works really, really fast and it looks for distractions because it's almost like your brain is looking for 2 things at the same time. One thing you're looking at work, but it's looking for something else. So when that something else happens, it's like, oh, I'm just going to go and get a drink, or I'm just going to go and get a coffee, or the dog, I'm just going to go and stroke the dog. But actually, if you give your second kind of thing something to think about that doesn't distract from work, like a sound, you can really get focused. So this humming of the fan made me realise I was really focused. So I actually wrote the notes for this earlier this morning, and my husband was outside. We've just borrowed a pressure washer, and it's the same thing. I suddenly realised that I had written this whole post. It took me about an hour and a half. Normally I would have got up, I'd have got a drink, I'd have gone to the loo. I had been sitting solidly typing away, because the pressure washer noise was that whole which is a bit like a fan. So my white noise is actually the sound of fans. I think it's actually plane noise, that hum that a noise of a plane is. It's very, very focusing. So rather long-winded way of saying white noise. I've got a white noise playlist on Spotify, so even if I haven't got Wi-Fi, I can still listen to it. It's amazing. It's well worth a try, especially if you like to listen to music. It's noise, not music. Some people, I remember a guy saying he liked to have the noise of like a cafe in the back with clinking cups and stuff, and you can get these sounds on Spotify. It's amazing. Anyway, that is it. I was going to do 5, but I just thought I'd throw in those extra few just because they're quite useful. And if they help one person, then that's been worthwhile sharing, I think. So let me know if you have any apps that you use that are brilliant. I would love to hear about them. If they're game changing, let me know. It would be great if I could share them with other interiors, stylists and writers and assistants and PRs and everybody who needs to work harder. Anyway, that's it for today. Until next time, bye for now. Thanks for listening to the Inside Stylist podcast. You can find all the details from today's episode over in the show notes on insidestylist.com. If you enjoyed the show, I'd love it if you would head on over to iTunes and rate and review it. It's the best way to help other people find the show, and I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, bye for now.